Okay. Hello, my name is Sturgis Robinson. I'm the manager of the Seattle Local Census Office right here in Seattle. I am in charge of field operations for the 2010 census. And right now I'm in the midst of training 1,300 enumerators to go out and knock on the doors of those folks who did not return their census questionnaire. And that training will conclude tomorrow, and they'll be out on the street knocking on doors starting May 1st. It's the single biggest census operation in history, I believe, and they've hired the largest temporary civilian workforce in history, at least as far as we know. It's a big operation. It'll last for about a month and a half, and we hope to ensure that we count everybody in Seattle where they live most of the time and only one time. We're also fortunate to have with us today Mr. Ralph Lee, who's the regional director of the U.S. Census here in what's called the Seattle region, which encompasses Northern California, Oregon, Idaho, Alaska, and Washington. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Ralph Lee to the podium.
Thank you, Sturgis. This week we're shifting from the mail response portion of the 2010 census to the collection phase. Yesterday, the Census Bureau announced the mail participation rate for the nation, which is 72%, and this equaled the rate in 2000. And it's a great pleasure to announce that the participation rate for the state of Washington is 74%, which is 2 points higher than the national rate. Washington also exceeded its 2000 rate by 2 percentage points. Seattle was at 75% and also exceeded their percentage from 2000 by 2%. So great job for Seattle and Washington. And as Sturgis says, we're now moving into the non-response follow-up portion of the census, where census takers will conduct in-person interviews with households that did not return their census forms. And we also have Guadalupe Cavazos, who is the manager of the Federal Way office here in this area to oversee the data collection. Households that did not return their forms or did not receive a form will be counted. Census takers will be fanning out across Washington State beginning on May 1st. In Washington State, we'll have about 11,000 census takers going door to door in their neighborhoods to complete the 2010 census. So we are again asking for cooperation from the public to open their doors, this time to allow the census takers to conduct interviews with them. Census takers will have a census ID that bears the Department of Commerce's watermark. They will also have a shoulder bag with a Census Bureau logo on it, as well as printed material that they will give to the households. Census takers will not ask for any information such as social security number, bank account number, credit card information, or PIN numbers. The information that they will be collecting are very basic questions mandated by the Census Bureau for the data collection, and it's questions such as name, gender, age, date of birth, ethnic origin, and race. If residents want to confirm the validity of a census taker, the census taker will provide their supervisor's phone number as well as the office that they work out of. Census takers will visit up to 3 times in person, and if there is a phone number available, residents will be called up to 3 times to complete the information. So again, we hope you open your doors to the census takers that will be starting the non-response follow-up operation beginning on May 1st. And with that, I'd like to introduce Guadalupe Cavazos, who will provide comments. Guadalupe.
I'm Guadalupe Cavazos, and I'm the local census office manager for South King County. Our office is located in Federal Way. As previously mentioned, we are getting ready to wrap up our training of our census takers. They should be out in the field beginning Saturday morning, May 1st. The public can expect to see census takers in those historically undercounted areas, in all areas, but especially those areas. For us, that would mean there would be heightened activity in the SeaTac, Tukwila, and some areas of Kent. So again, remember that every census taker carries an ID. If there's any question or any doubt in your mind, please feel free to call the number for the local offices to verify employment. And with that, thank you, and please participate. The census is mandated by the U.S. Constitution, and it is our civic duty as citizens of this country to be able to respond and do our part.
I got a question. I don't know if Ralph is the right one to answer, or whoever. How many households are you talking about? 300,000, 100,000?
For South King County, we have approximately 294,000 housing units. And based on the participation rates, we will be knocking on about 86,000 household doors.
And this is apartments, homes. This is not the homeless or the people out on the street or
That is correct.
in other areas.
Yes. Those
Okay.
are called housing units specifically.
And do you have what would you deem a success rate then on trying to get these last 25% or so people?
To try and count every single person out of those 85,000 household units. Once, where they live.
Anything else that would be important?
I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce you to a couple of census enumerators. They're just completing their training right now, and I'd like to show you their badges and the equipment that they carry. Erica and Tyler, if you step up here to the front so that the camera can...
Why don't you in front of the podium?
Okay.
Okay.
So they look shockingly like the rest of their neighborhoods. And we do try to hire within the neighborhoods that we serve. You guys live in Belltown, am I not mistaken? Right, Belltown. So every census taker will have a bag like this that carries their various printed material, and they have an ID badge. It has the Census Department of Commerce logo on one side and their name. They also have a ticket with them that will have the number of the local census office so that folks can call to confirm their employment if there's any concern on the part of the people that we're greeting. They will have a confidentiality card. You guys have one of those by any chance, the confidentiality sticker? About the very first thing that a census taker will do is to hand the confidentiality card to the person that they're interacting with. That card describes the restrictions on the use of census material that we collect, the penalties for releasing that information inappropriately, and there it is. And it also talks a little bit about who to count on April 1st. Your answers are confidential, and the person will retain this document for future reference.
Now, what if I'm thinking way back in the early days, a lot of times you go to the neighbor's house and say, Smith family's not home, how many children live there? Is it a mother, father? I mean, will you go to that extent and talk to neighbors if somebody's not available to be contacted?
In the event that there is no other way, we do have that option.
Okay.
But there will be, as Ralph I think explained, there'll be 3 attempts to contact by telephone. There'll be some attempts to contact in person. We'll try very hard to exhaust all the possibilities before we return to that.
Good. I'm good unless there's something else.
Melissa, do you want to talk to census takers to get their perspective?
I think I'm good.
Perfect.
Okay, great, thank you.
Maybe you want to add about that this is an evening and weekend operation.
Why don't you go ahead and slide that way, use the census taker.
Because we're trying to count folks in their homes, our census takers will be mostly active on weekends and in the early evenings when it's more likely that people will be in their residences. So make sure you look out for our census takers, make sure you welcome them. Remember, they're just trying to help residents in the United States fulfill their constitutionally mandated civic obligation to fill out their census form. Thank you.
Great, thank you.